Hey everybody, welcome back, and also welcome back to the original intro. I did manage to find the backup files on the Alienware laptop. I have no idea why they did not copy across to the new computer like as best as I can gather everything else. But then again, you may be starting to notice with me that computer and IT mysteries are kind of how I roll. But anyway, out with the new, in with the old. Welcome back to the original intro by popular demand. Also, just on mystery computer stuff, apologies, the last couple of videos we've had some weird things pop up where we've had some looping or a couple of clips repeating. No idea why, if the take is not too terrible. So pretty much after I do a take, I either delete it if it's really bad, even for me, or if it's not too terrible, then I just simply move it into the timeline and then I move on to the next clip. So I'm not sure what's caused that. Nor those the audio issues that we had in the Shonky Awards Part 1. So apologies for those. Hopefully in 2024 I will figure out how to be a little bit less special with this sort of thing. But yeah, it's been a fun run. But let's hope for low friction IT life next year. And just while I'm here, rather than at the end, in case I run long, I mean, when has that ever happened? But just in case. And then I rush and forget. Just wanted to say a quick, huge thanks to everybody for what's been again another great fun year for zero friction cycling. I know that many of you that watch the channel are also customers through the zero friction cycling retail side, so enormous thanks for that. It is obviously the support of the retail side that enables the entire model to work and the magic to happen. It's extremely difficult to make any even sort of basic cost covering margin on just testing. So even though we've been doing a lot of paid private testing over the last few years, a test can easily take a couple of months to do. We only have 3 machines and there's only so much you can charge for a bicycle chain lubricant test. So you can really only make a sort of it's a pretty low, obviously, sort of revenue that you can generate doing that side of things. So the model of having the independent testing side, the genuine best products that we find from testing being sold through the retail side, it's the retail side that enables this entire independent testing to exist, and having all the open data and league table and knowledge resources that we do. And now, I'm biased here, but whilst I'm talking about the ZFC model, I'm just going to do a quick reiteration on, I guess, why I think the ZFC testing and data is sort of quite uniquely valuable, both to cyclists out there looking for what is the best lubricant, but also to manufacturers that use zero friction cycling for testing. There are probably a handful of other facilities that do testing for efficiency losses for bicycle chain lubrication. And I've made some videos previously with regards to the challenges that really this sector faces. The lack of having an industry standard. For a start, it means that one facility to another, we're getting pretty variant results with regards to efficiency losses, which is obviously very confusing. And there's just all the different types of machines and protocols and so on. It's a bit of a mess, or a lot of a mess. And other issues like they tend to be quite short duration, generally don't have any contamination protocol and so on. So there's not really, I guess there's certainly some limitations with regards to what you can do with that data outside of what's the outright efficiency of the lubricant in a clean test lab. What's going to happen to it when you start riding, especially out on the trails or in the wet, we really don't know. So the ZFC test protocol gives us a much broader picture of the lubricant's performance by it being run over thousands of kilometers and including dry contamination and wet contamination and so on. But one of the other issues that often presents with facilities that are, I guess, able to be contracted for testing work by manufacturers is that pretty much the manufacturer is always purchasing their own data set. So typically when a manufacturer contracts testing with facility X, they can have their lubricant tested and they get a result, and that's great. But what do they do with that result? They don't have anything to benchmark that particular result from that facility against. So normally, and this is really where the facility is going to, make some viable money from this testing client, is that client is going to need to employ them to conduct a bunch of tests. So they might then say have their product tested and 10 key competitor products. So they're now paying for 11 tests to be conducted with this facility, and that makes it at least a sort of worthwhile project for that facility to conduct for that manufacturer. Now the issue is that this is, I can't categorically state this is what we've seen, but it seems to be pretty much what we've seen, is that it becomes very much a pay to win, I should say. Because if a manufacturer contracts the test facility to test, say, theirs plus 10 competitors, and it beats 6 of them and loses to 4, well, they're not going to go to market with test data showing that they're in, say, 5th place. In every single case, they go to market showing that they're in 1st place, and there's 6 competitors that they have, nicely beaten. So, and again, that data remains their data. So when the next client comes along, they're not able to automatically be benchmarked, with that client's data. They have to get their own data set. Now, with zero friction cycling, we now have a open league table with basically 40 tests that make up that league table. They comprise of tests that I've conducted of my own volition, just to see how a lubricant has performed. Aiming to either try to find a top lubricant or put a very popular lubricant to the test, or we're obviously testing to see if a product's particular fairly outlandish marketing claims come anywhere near reality. A lot of the others are actually made up of manufacturer tests, where the manufacturer, being happy with the results of the test, have allowed for the test to no longer be private but to go onto the open data table. So this is part of where the open league table has got quite competitive, and it's pretty tough to get into the top 10 or even top 15, because quite a number of tests where if the test has gone extremely well for the manufacturer, then they're going to be happy and wanting that data to be public. If the tests don't go well, then those tests remain private. And so there has been a lot of tests conducted where they are not on the open league table, because that needs to remain private. But we just have that much greater league table where a manufacturer can just have their product tested. They only need really to have their product tested. They don't need to commission key competitors to be tested, because in all likelihood they're already on the open league table, so they get an immediate benchmark comparison with how their lubricant is performing block by block as we go through the test. Now, so whilst we don't give an efficiency loss number, because the current landscape, efficiency loss number is a very messy, meaningless kind of number in most cases, we have a fairly big advantage with the fact that the zero friction cycling test is over thousands of kilometers, has contamination, and that we have that big open league table. So for both cyclists and for manufacturers, it is, I guess, something unique in this space in the cycling world, and it's something, again, biased, but something very valuable to us all. And so that all circles back to me saying, again, a huge thanks to you all for supporting, because without your support, we simply wouldn't have a zero friction cycling existing and have what we have with zero friction cycling, and in a space that is a pretty big mess overall at the moment. I guess having that sort of pretty robust wear correlation test data that we have that includes contamination, as opposed to the wildly variant outright efficiency testing facilities, we've got something that I think is quite uniquely valuable at the moment for everybody, and it's been a lot of fun to get from where we started to get to where we are today. And that is, huge thanks everyone to actually enabling this journey and what we have to occur. Sorry, I can't even say thank you for that rambling, but I just wanted to convey that it really means something to me that your support enables zero friction cycling to exist. And that, without it, I think this space would be a little bit messy, and that hopefully, if you've been using the information and resources that zero friction cycling has meant something to you. And I'll continue to do my best to try to make sure that zero friction cycling, always really means something to you and is worth supporting. So, thank you, and let's get on to today's video. Let's see, as opposed to the last two, let's see who's been doing a great job in our little area of focus. Alright, first awesome award to Mspeedwax, who have really been like I said, pretty much the stalwart benchmark in low friction running on your bicycle chain for quite some time now. If we go back on just a mini journey back to, I think, around 2010 or 11 when Jason Smith started Friction Facts, he discovered as part of that testing that paraffin wax was actually a rather amazing lubricant for bicycle chains. It just has all the right properties for a part that has a lot of little parts of sliding surface friction occurring quite a lot. And from there, he really brought in a friend, John Thompson, who was a bit of a wax expert, to play around with can paraffin be improved upon to make a really awesome immersive wax blend. From that, the first UFO wax was born, and the ultra-fast optimization race chain business, which was a sort of side business then created to Friction Facts. And John Thompson took the wax blend to create a business of Mspeedwax, or Molten Speed Wax as it was called back then. When I started zero friction cycling, after betting in the actual test protocol, Mspeedwax was obviously one of the first products tested as to start off the open data table, and it was rather massively in the lead, and the first product to be stocked and recommended by zero friction cycling, and really was very unchallenged at the top of the leaderboard for quite some time before some competition really started gunning for Mspeedwax in the immersive waxing space. Now, competition in the immersive wax space was sooner or later going to be inevitable. However, Mspeedwax did have a little bit of time on their side to really perfect their version 2 of the formula. So there are quite a number of changes to the actual base wax blend, to the modifiers being used. And from an already, dominant position leading the ZFC league table for quite some years, the version 2 formula managed to drop the wear rate in the main test protocol down to 1/3 of the original formula, and also basically double the treatment longevity from the original formula as well. So a really big step forward to keep them right at the top of the leaderboard, despite all the new fancy stuff coming to market from a number of players. Out of the top immersive waxes that we've sort of tested and found to date, Mspeedwax in most locations will typically have a bit of a price advantage, so they do try to keep that sort of pricing as competitive as they can. And having dealt with them now for quite a number of years, they really are just a great little company. Not always will a great product on the market be backed by truly great sort of support and service and just that genuine customer focus. Mspeedwax are that through and through. Right, next awesome award goes to Silca, who have really done an overall huge amount in this space to help move low frictionness forwards. I mean, they've obviously brought out the hot melt immersive wax, so that is a truly top product, and really in the zero friction cycling test, it can barely separate between, say, Mspeedwax new formula and hot melt, so it's a great product. But on top of that, they have just done so much with regards to trying to cater to the entire market and having the entire market on a really low friction, low wear path, especially for all of those who are not going to be immersive waxing. So they brought out a great wax emulsion drip lubricant with super secret drip. They've brought out a great wet lubricant with Silca Synergetic. Silca Synergy I need to do the detail review on, but overall, especially for dry riding, the Synergy for really, the e-bike market is also a really high-performing wet lubricant. So there's been a number of great products that they have brought to the market. But on top of that, really, Josh Portner of Silca has done so much to, drive more knowledge and understanding and focus in this area. So through his the Silca Velo channel, but also especially the Marginal Gains podcast, and he's being really an industry heavyweight, he gets invited onto a lot of great other podcasts and YouTube channels where he's able to, talk much better than I can with regards to what works, why it's so important, how much that saves, not just in watts but in your drivetrain wear, how much easier it is to keep things clean. He's just been able to help drive a focus in this space over the last few years that I think has probably been fairly unmatched by any other company I think that I can think of off the top of my mind. It's just done such a great job to really help more and more cyclists get onto a low friction path. And as that's really the overarching goal and purpose as to why I do what I do at ZFC and why ZFC exists. Having Josh, his reference back to zero friction cycling testing and data and the cost to run tables, things like that, on a number of top YouTube channels and podcasts. It's obviously a huge help to the purpose and mission here at Zero Friction Cycling. Yeah, and so really from the point of fact that Silca have brought out a number of class-leading products in this space, from immersive wax to wax drip to wet lubricant, as well as the absolutely awesome amount of education and awareness that Josh has done. Silca really obviously take home a big awesome award for just the amount of really forward movement that they've helped attain for everybody in the lubrication space in cycling. It's just so many more cyclists now not having drivetrains suffering a early death by abrasion, and it's especially in the immersive waxing side of things. I think that the sheer level of market reach and marketing, as well as Josh's personal reach, it has just helped drive that. And immersive waxing has really moved from being really, when I started zero friction cycling, fairly niche, to immersive waxing these days is practically just a normal mainstream activity. Less and less people look at a person who says they're immersive waxing like they're some strange person from a leper colony. It's really very mainstream now, and especially the hybrid approach where you can use an immersive wax compatible wax strip lubricant. It's just been so much forward progress here, and a lot of that has been driven by Josh Portner and Silca and their just much greater reach. So that has been awesome. Right, next awesome award goes to Rex, who, aside from bringing some genuinely awesome products to market, especially in this last year, there's something about Rex that has really impressed me ever since I've started dealing with them, which I think will be about 2 years ago now, is that they are a company that just so genuinely want to have actual proper independent data to back their products, and not just pump out stuff with all the usual marketing trope. They want to have actual genuine independent testing that sits behind their product marketing, so that they know that what they've brought to market has been tested and that it is genuinely awesome, and they can stand by the marketing claims. And that is something that is a lot rarer than you might think. So aside from doing their own extensive testing on products, if we go back some years, they had contracted Wheel Energy, who at the time were really one of the only options in the bicycle chain lubricant efficiency space as an independent test facility, to get data for their Black Diamond lubricant versus key competitors. And again, their view is just to really be able to go to market with independent proof and testing that their product is a market leading product. And that was all groovy. There were really no concerns at the time with regards to Wheel Energy testing. Wheel Energy had a very strong reputation from the automotive sector, where they do testing for wheels and tyres. Really, only concerns started to be thought about when Wheel Energy were contracted also by Absolute Black as part of the Graphene Lube launch. And just the data that was released as part of that launch was certainly in some instances quite a bit of a head scratcher, where for some lubricants we've got situations where the efficiency losses are going both down and then up by multiple watts in a fairly short space of time, and that just does not happen in any actual universe. And so, just based on concerns with regards to the accuracy of the data coming out from there, hats off to Rex. They removed the Wheel Energy test data from their website because they were not satisfied that they could be, 100% certain. And again, just their key drive is to have accurate independent data to support their products, that they are genuine market leading products. So from there, they've been using zero friction cycling testing for probably at least a couple of years now, quite heavily. They've pretty much had a test machine just about locked out to them for most of the last 2 years. And so not only do they use that to confirm that their products are actually right at the very tip of the the bleeding edge of market performance. I've been using the testing very heavily to develop the products to make sure that what goes into production is actually, an absolute kick-ass product that's going to really take it to any competition. So both from a development perspective and also an independent verification perspective, Rex have just put in, you really can't put in any greater effort than what they do to ensure that what they're bringing to market is independently verified as awesome. Yes, obviously Rex are quite a contrast to quite a number of the companies that we covered in the Shonky Awards videos. So yeah, really just that great drive to make sure that what they bring to market and what they have on the market, they can substantiate and back that it is a genuinely market-leading product, and what they're claiming on the packaging, that is what you get. And overall, it's amazing how rare that is. It's quite a funny space. I'm constantly entertained, I guess, by how funny this little space is. It's so competitive. I mean, there are literally thousands of lubricants out there on the market from just countless brands that are all vying for your business, and they're all making all these wonderful claims. And so at the end of the day, you would think that if even half of them actually had substantiation of their claims, they would want to be shouting that out from the rooftops to any and all who would listen. So it's quite odd that in most cases, when you write to a particular manufacturer and ask them for something tangible to substantiate the claims that they're making with regards to the product, you either get nothing or you get marketing fluff or corporate fluff, nothing substantial or tangible at all. At best, what you'll normally get is something along the lines of they developed it within their own staff. So that basically means that a bunch of the own company personnel ride the product and thought that it felt great as a lubricant. Or they might be saying that they worked in conjunction with a local pro team or ex-pro team or ex-pro athletes, and so it was developed with their feedback. And again, it means absolutely nothing. It means that they gave it to some cyclists. The cyclists reported back that it felt like a chain lubricant, and from there they're off to the races. It is so rare to actually write to a manufacturer and ask them to substantiate their marketing claims and get anything of greater depth than that if you get a response at all. So then when you look at what a company like Rex is doing to try to ensure that they have the best independent substantiation for their product's performance, that kind of corporate behavior and company behavior and culture, that is what we should be supporting and rewarding. All right, next awesome award to Effetto Mariposa's Flower Power Wax. So this was a really, I guess, a good surprise that came up from a booked-in test. When Effetto contacted me with regards to testing the Flower Power Wax, I must say I didn't think it was going to be a bad product, but I didn't think it was going to really challenge the top of the leaderboard like it ended up doing. Right, if I sort the league table all the way by the end of the main test at block 6, so right to the end of the extreme contamination block, we can see that for wax drip lubricants, which are the ones coloured green, that Effetto Flower Power Wax is at the top of the table there, and it topped, I think, pretty much all the test blocks along the way to recording the lowest overall wear result for a drip lubricant. Combined with an overall, very competitive price as well. That's in US dollars. In Australian, it's normally around sort of $29, $30 for a bottle. Combining that with its very low wear rates throughout the test, the Flower Power Wax also had a great time in the cost to run tables and in the cost to run calculator. So we can see here just on the first table, Flower Power Wax is topping the drip lubricants. Overall, again, only being beaten out by the top immersive waxes. Now, if you haven't seen the detailed review, I'm going to preempt a couple of ponderings that you may be having. As amazing as this product is overall, we do not yet have an all-singing, all-dancing, all-conquering wax drip lubricant product. The There's two things just to, I guess, consider with regards to the Flower Power wax. One is that it does tend to run sort of fairly black, so it's not the cleanest wax strip. And two, the sunflower base wax, it just really does not play properly with the immersive waxes, so it's not really an option for those looking to do the hybrid approach. So immersive wax with MSW or hot melt and so on, and then top up with Flower Power. They both just sort of, or the Flower Power will tend to impact the wax bond, and both the immersive wax and then future Flower Power treatments, they'll start to sound and feel dry fairly quickly into your cycling. So we still, I guess, have an opening on the market for an all-conquering drip wax. Yeah, so we kind of still have, I guess, an opening for the all-singing, all-conquering wax drip lubricant to come to market. At the moment, things are a little bit, I guess, a balance of compromises. A little bit like tires, where it's like, ultimate grip, but then it's easily cut and wears out quickly. Puncture resistance versus rolling resistance, things like that. In the wax strip lubricant space, it's a little bit like that in that, I guess, the most refined, cleanest wax strips like, say, Silca SS drip, UFO drip, True Tension Tungsten All Weather, they're very clean running, no penetration issues, especially for SS drip and UFO. They are easy to clean just with boiling water flush clean if you do need to do some cleaning post wet rides. They are immersive wax compatible, so they got all these awesome boxes ticked. But they're probably their one Achilles heel really is just outright treatment lifespan is not amazing, especially when it comes to wet conditions. Then we've got, so if we look at something like Smooth, which can really hang on in there in both dry and wet conditions, so it's quite a long-lasting wax treatment, but it certainly has some initial penetration issues, and it is not an easy clean. Smooth had to bring out their own product called Smooth Prep, which, as best as I can tell, is just about damn near a molecular acid. So it's a pretty tough clean, and then you got to sort of faff a little bit with negating some initial penetration issues. So awesome with regards to longevity. But a few other things to balance off against. And then we've got something like, say, Effetto's Flower Power, which is, overall brilliant, just super low wear, no penetration issues, and decent treatment longevity. It's easy to clean with the right product, so Effetto's own Alpine Extra does remove it pretty well straight away. From memory, it doesn't really clean that effectively just with boiling water. But we've got the offset that it runs blacker than, it's just not as clean as what some people would like, and not playing with the immersive waxes. So what we're looking for in 2024 is a wax strip lubricant that has no penetration issues, stays super clean, it's immersive wax compatible, and has, really long treatment lifespan in both dry and wet conditions. Let's see what comes to market. But aside from that little sort of side tangent, overall, and this is especially for those that are not immersive waxing, they're looking for a standalone top wax strip lubricant, Effetto's Flower Power, it is the lowest wear drip lubricant ever tested, and compared to most of the competition by quite a margin, it performs in wet and in dry. It's just an overall brilliant product, and it's got some very strong environmental friendly credentials as well. So yeah, the only negatives for it were just it just runs that bit blacker than some would like, and not immersive wax compatible. But all up, a very big awesome award to Effetto with their Flower Power wax. It's a great product that's been brought to market. Alright, next up, always being awesome, has been Ceramic Speed. So, you probably know them best for their pulley wheels, the UFO drip lubricant, and also their UFO race chains, and of course their bearings. From my side, aside from having a brilliant product with UFO drip, being a very fast, great performing, great low wear and clean wax strip lubricant that you can use with immersive waxing as well. They're a company that I've been dealing with for a long time, because they really, they took over that gold standard of outright efficiency testing from Jason Smith of Friction Facts. He really pioneered that FTT plus FLT testing protocol. Now, there's no getting around the fact that even though they're running what I believe to be very clearly the gold standard test protocol for efficiency testing, that if you are a direct player in the market doing the efficiency testing for chain lubrication, there's going to be questions with regards to that because it is not independent, so we can't get around that. However, the data is still often extremely valuable. But also, what was great this year is that they're able to use that same gold standard test to test for the actual chain's efficiency. So the actual model of chain and how efficient they are does vary quite a bit from brand and chain model. So being able to use that data alongside the wear durability testing that I do at ZFC for the chains, in some cases we're really able to help with decisions around what are the best chains for training and what are the best fastest chains for racing. And so I've got all that up now on the chain efficiency test page. So having them able to do that testing for us has been brilliant. It's something they do obviously for themselves, but for the first time they were able to open up that data for ZFC to use and create that comparison page. Yeah, so you really won't find information like this anywhere else out there on the old interweb, where you can compare chains, both wear life and efficiency data. And obviously really we needed Ceramic Speed with their awesome testing to enable the magic to happen, so that you can go there and find out what is the most awesome chain for you for your cycling, be it racing or training. And of course, on top of their own outright efficiency testing, they have been for a long time using Zero Friction Cycling's test protocol to verify the product performance from Zero Friction Cycling perspective. So it tested the Ceramic Speed UFO V1, tested the V2, which is now called the All Conditions, and I have on my to-do list to try to get to early in 2024 the new Wet Conditions lubricant. The indoor specific, I'm not sure when, but the Wet Conditions is a bit of a priority to get to next year. So yeah, where they can, they are seeking the independent verification for their product's awesomeness as well, not just their own. So yeah, thank you Ceramic Speed. It has been great to liaise with you guys a bunch this year and keep getting more knowledge on low friction awesomeness for the benefit really of everybody. Right, just a general awesome, well done overall for the overall progress that a lot of cycling media is making in this space. So traditionally, cycling media used to be pretty terrible overall at doing articles in the bicycle chain lubrication space. They were either pretty much just guessing because they had ridden a lubricant a couple of times. They have absolutely zero objective data or any tangible information apart from the fact that it felt like a chain lubricant. And then quite often, be putting out an article on the best chain lube covering all sorts of conditions. And again, with recommendations based purely off either nothing, marketing, or advertising spend by that company with that publication. None of which really gave an accurate result for the reader or audience. And so over time, a number of publications that tech writers there have really been working, well and consciously to do a better job of putting out accurate information with regards to this space. So they've been actually consulting with, independent people who know a lot about the space because they've been working in the field for a long time. People speaking with, say, Jason Smith of Friction Facts, and then even now Driven, because obviously still got a huge amount of knowledge in this area. The likes of the Josh Portner, so even pre-Silca, and being, an actual, player in the space. Josh has been optimizing chains for athletes and, world tour teams for, I think, literally decades. Myself. So just getting that, proper research and fact checking on some things before publishing an article on best chain lube, especially when they're covering all sorts of, conditions and demographics. If we go back 7 years, things were generally pretty terrible almost universally to, things have really moved forward quite some ways and continuing to improve. So that's been fantastic. Keep up the great work, cycling media. I'll give out, some specific shout outs to some, ones that are top of mind from the last year-ish. that have, I guess, consulted with myself directly, or I know that they've also consulted with others, such as Bike Radar, Road CC, Cycling Weekly, Bicycling Magazine. And I won't mention the name of one place because they don't really deserve to have their name mentioned after the bold corporate move of sacking all of your best staff that are practically out there in the industry. But the awesome tech writers of the caliber of Dave Rome and James Huang, who now work at Escape Collective, they had for years been putting out just what I judge as the best content on bicycle chain lubrication, just great articles, great coverage on podcasts, and again just really helping move things in the right direction. So well done overall to cycling media. It's a great trend, and it obviously really helps just reach so many cyclists and save them a ton of money and a ton of friction. And that will lead nicely into what I'll have to make my final one for my awards video, because I am out of time on the mad Christmas rush before we break for Christmas, New Year's. Yeah, I just want to say, big awesome award to Escape Collective, rising from the ashes of venture capital madness. I just, the people that they have at Escape Collective, I think are just the highest caliber really in the industry, both just in terms of not only the caliber of their reporting, but just the integrity of the reporting, and that is just so important these days. 100% member funded, no advertising, so there's just simply not a conflict of interest to be had. And it's something that if you've been paying attention at all to, I guess, planet Earth, you'll know that journalism and media, it's an overall disaster. It's so hard to know what to believe on so many topics. I've got very intelligent friends who still have severe doubts about things like human-induced climate change, whether or not certain people on the earth are horrific or not, despite astounding mountains of evidence. We have things like the Flat Earth Convention is growing in members. You would think that with all the tools we have available to verify whether or not the Earth is indeed flat or round, that we kind of could have squashed that one instead of that being growing. But oh my goodness, overall, journalism and being able to trust in what you are reading on a website or listening to on a podcast, it's just getting harder and harder. And this, to me, is what makes, I guess, media like Escape Collective, where you can depend not only on the quality but the integrity of the articles and the content being provided to you. It's becoming rarer and rarer, and I'm quite passionate about supporting very, very good things that we want to hopefully have continue, into the future. The same goes with companies that I think that we should support, and companies that we really shouldn't support until they make some changes. In this area in particular, I think it really is upon us to support media and journalism that is worth supporting if we want that to exist in the future, versus going through a nightmare of clickbait and bias and agendas and goodness knows what else. So I think they're actually having a bit of a membership drive again, because remember, there's no advertisements. The whole operation is 100% member funded. I think if you join over this period that you get a t-shirt and so on. So if you haven't checked them out yet, check them out. And if you can spare it, then they are well worth supporting, because we really want media like this to be around going forwards, hopefully forever and ever, whilst we're all still cycling. Oh, almost forgot my rush. I'm about probably 7 years overdue, but I also really need to say a huge thanks to my lovely, beautiful wife for making Zero Friction Cycling possible. Without Nusha's support, Zero Friction Cycling simply wouldn't have been able to exist. You do go through a few years with a lot of startups where there is more money going out the door than is coming in the door, and so you have to have some backing to be able to get things going. And so she's not only the best wife and mother to that I'm extremely fortunate to have my dream life around she's also a magnificent doctor, so her income is really what enables me to have my hobby business here with Zero Friction Cycling without having to worry, really about whether or not a particular week or month is making, sufficient revenue to help pay the mortgage. So yeah, really, in so many ways, without her backing from the start right through to now, there just would not be a ZFC. So obviously it is high time that I gave her a quick thank you, even though she will probably hate me for putting up a pic, but there we go. For me, it was time. So thank you to my lovely, lovely wife for everything that, enables us to be here. And whilst I'm here recognising people that really should deserve to be recognised, thank you very much to Andrew, my retail manager. He's been great since he joined Zero Friction Cycling. Been exactly what I was looking for and needed to help take care of the retail side of the business, so I can concentrate more on the testing and keeping up with chain preps. And also to my amazing IT and website lady Jill to have us the online resource that we have and keep everything actually running, because heavens to Betsy, can you imagine if I was doing the website, how that would go. Aside from that, after today being Friday the 22nd, I will be having hopefully mostly 3 weeks off, and my retail manager Andrew will be taking next week off. So the website will be open for orders and inquiries, but they won't be actioned until Andrew starts to attack them back on Tuesday the 2nd of January. So yeah, thanks everyone. It's been a great low friction year, and let's hope that 2024 is the lowest friction year yet. Looking forward to all the fun ahead. Thanks again everyone for your support and for watching, and I'll look forward to chatting with you in the new year and see what fun we get up to. And let's hope there's no duplicate clips, weird audio, or other funny stuff on this one. As my Christmas present. Please, video software.